Welcome back. The upcoming 15th BRICS Summit is expected to open up new prospects for BRICS cooperation. Wang Yi, the director of the Office of the Central Commission's Foreign Affairs Office, was recently in South Africa's economic and financial hub to align security and political agendas. He also had a phone call with the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. As over 40 countries have applied to join this economic bloc, what breakthroughs can we expect from this upcoming summit? How can developing countries provide concrete solutions to global problems? To discuss all this, I'm pleased to be joined by Wang Jinjie, Research Assistant Professor at the Institute of South-South Cooperation and Development at Peking University, and also by Joseph Olivier Mendo'o, Head of the African Youth Delegation in China. Welcome to the Hub. Professor Wang, let me start with you. Wang Yi, Director Wang, recently was in Johannesburg, South Africa to attend this 13th meeting, which was basically paving the way for the BRICS Leaders Summit. Director Wang said it was the mission of the Global South to, quote-unquote, resist external interference and to, quote-unquote, maintain the security of politics and regimes, and also to promote balanced, effective, and sustainable security structure. What do you make of the significance of this meeting and what Director Wang has said?
Thank you. Thank you, Wang Guan, for having us today. Yes, I think the most important issue being discussed as this meeting is about the cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is an important area of concern for BRICS countries. It affects the security, stability, and economic well-being of nations. This meeting on national security has focused on, developing a cooperative approach to address cybersecurity challenges. However, the increasing reliance on digital technology and escalation of cyber threats and attacks are becoming more and more crucial. So with the number of people doing business and individuals conducting financing transaction online, cybersecurity been very crucial. More importantly, at a country level, cyber safety can be really important because that's going to be endanger the power grids, transportation system, and the communication. Therefore, the need for international norms and rules to govern cyberspace and the importance of respecting the principle of sovereignty of each country is quite important in this meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed, cybersecurity is a very important issue. There needs to be new norms and regulations and discussions on the nuances of it, of course. Mendo'o, let me turn to you. At the meeting, Wang Yi also underlined political security and economic cooperation potentials, as well as people-to-people exchange as the driving force for BRICS cooperation. In your opinion, how could BRICS countries further align to create an even greater synergy?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And first of all, I'm very happy to see that people-to-people exchanges is an important pillar of the cooperation. And the BRICS, we see that the BRICS countries are committed to promoting cultural diversity and facilitating exchanges and mutual learning and enhancing the friendship among the peoples. And in my sense, ahead of aligning each member state's agenda to better coordinate their stances, I do believe that more effort should be made in terms of regularizing, regionalizing people-to-people exchanges and cooperation, because only when member states deepen mutual understanding and friendship among their people and bringing the ideas of partnership closer to their people can the bloc achieve a greater synergy. So because we're talking here about a group of nations that accounts for more than 40% of the world's population and where a large number of world's youth population live. So regular and institutionalized people-to-people or youth exchanges paired with youth empowerment activities and sound follow-up mechanisms will be able to bring sustainable and further relevance to the bloc or to such a platform that the BRICS represents.
Yeah, there's such great potential when it comes to people-to-people exchange between Chinese and Africans. I myself am looking forward to visiting this amazing continent, which I haven't been. Professor Wang, in just 3 weeks, the 15th BRICS Summit will be held in Johannesburg, South Africa. What do you think could be topping the agenda, and what breakthroughs and opportunities could it bring, especially to South Africa, as it is hosting this year's summit?
Yes, Wang Guan. What makes the summit of special significance is the fact that heads of the state from all African countries have been invited. This is probably the largest scale of this kind of summit. The opportunities could include, first of all, would be developing a deeper connected partnership towards climate change, which our previous guest, Leslie, has mentioned. So the new opportunity needed to be explored to manage the risk associated with the climate change. Secondly, will be transforming education and skill development for the future. As we know, towards development and escaping poverty, education and continuous skill development are long-term solutions. Thirdly, would it be unlocking opportunities through the African continental free trade area. So the operation of the African continental free trade area in align with BRICS priorities and the subjects and issues that would be really important. And other issues like strengthening post-pandemic socio-economic recoveries, especially for the marginalized women in labor market. Their needs should be met as well. So lastly, would it be promoting the multilateralism? Yes.
Yeah, Professor Wang, there has been a lot of talks about using local currencies amongst BRICS member states. For example, Dilma Rousseff, the new head of the new development bank, recently said that there will be a greater number of projects, a greater share of projects financed in local currencies. How do you expect that issue to come up within this BRICS mechanism going forward in South Africa?
Yes, the ideas of joining the BRICS and by using the local currency has been discussed. Of course, this would be a great opportunity for the local community and local economy. However, this might be a long, complicated process because there are challenges of coordinating monetary policies and exchange rates among BRICS countries and others because they have different economic structures, level of development, and political systems are all different. But those are the very important issues that we have to consider before we thinking about the local currency in terms of this process. But that's a very good future, as Leslie mentioned. It would enhance the role of importance of the BRICS countries in global economy and finance governance. However, the process of introducing either a new currency or by utilizing the local currency would likely to be complex and lengthy. That would require significant coordination among different stakeholders. Yes.
Yeah, it is a process in the making, although it could be a long shot given the fact that the bulk of the foreign currencies owned by worldwide governments are still in US dollars. And if you think about global trade, the chunk of it is still conducted in US dollars. Mendo'o, let me turn to you. The BRICS countries now account for over a third of the global GDP, overtaking G20, and also an increasing number of countries are expressing interests in joining this organization, 40 of them to be exact. What does that say about the traction of BRICS? And now 2 decades since its inception, what role do you think has BRICS been playing? Which areas do you think it can play an even stronger role in terms of elevating the status of the global South?
Yeah, thank you for your question. You have to understand that the BRICS for Africa especially can represent a new alternative to financing African economies and to better integrate Africa into the world, as a lot of African countries have been complaining to have been feeling excluded from the international system. So the BRICS gives such a very good platform for the member countries, as we are also seeing in between, or we're expecting many discussions in issues relevant to the member states. For example, as the professor just mentioned, we are actually expecting further discussions or further in-depth discussion by the member states or by their leaders on how to deal with and collaborate on climate change and energy transition in aspects such as expanding the new energy forms and enhancing technological cooperation. Also very relevant is the collaboration on skills sharing. That's very important among member states. I mean, the rapid development of technologies and innovation and institutionalized and strong training and cooperation will push actually the workers to redirect the new to new industries and empower the young people with more skills demanded by the market so as to remain globally competitive. So the issues of coordinating growth or stability and global recovery post-pandemic will also be another key point that we are actually expecting when we talk about the South-South cooperation, because the BRIC is actually playing quite a significant role in pushing the global recovery, particularly China, such a big economy, which has been lifting the whole global community out of the recession. So areas or topics such as how BRICS countries will strengthen the cooperation to expedite global recovery, ensure that industrial and supply chains are open to promote globalization and leverage that for the recovery process could also be a main item on the agenda and could also be the common ground for member states and also the friends of the BRICS.
Great, Mendo'o. We do need to catch up if we do go to South Africa. I want to pick your mind on that. Many issues at hand. Professor Wang, there are very interesting dynamics. It's a very delicate balance within the member states of BRICS. If you think about the fact that China and India are not necessarily seeing eye to eye on all issues. India has been part of this Indo-Pacific strategy of the United States, part of the Quad. China, of course, has very strong relations with Russia and South Africa. And South Africa has very interesting relations with Russia as well. How do you see these competing dynamics within BRICS? Because many narratives from the West are questioning the unity of BRICS.
Yes, this is definitely a phenomenon that we've been adjusting, adapting to, and facing in terms of building up a better collaboration within the BRICS countries. There are obstacles for sure. Because of the BRICS countries are diverse in terms of their economic and political system, which can sometimes make it challenging to reach consensus on certain issues, such as economic challenge, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic has hit the economics of BRICS countries hard. So the newest data released by African Development Bank shows except the Eastern Africans with a little bit of better economic growth, the rest of the continent are still slowing down. For BRICS countries, they face the similar development challenges, but challenges also coming up with opportunities. So in terms of the economic cooperation, level of development, the internal and external vulnerabilities would bring the BRICS countries together. But to overcome it, that would be a lot of building up trust and dialogue among themselves, and also engaging other significant regional organizations, such as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or China-ASEAN Free Trade Areas. Those can help building stronger ties among different BRICS countries.
Professor Wang and Mendo'o, thank you both so very much for your input. We learned a lot. We really appreciate your presence today.
Thank you.
With that, we come to the end of this edition of The Hub on CGTN. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Wang Guan in Beijing. Bye for now.